So the trailer finally came out, and contrary to everyone else on this platform, I wasn't blown away like I was hoping I would be. So now I'm going to just go through this trailer scene by scene and break down exactly why I'm so indifferent to it. And as a heads up, if you hear noise in the background, they're doing construction out in the parking lot, so please bear with me. Off the bat, we're greeted with this really beautiful shot of the city skyline. But as beautiful as it is, one of the biggest problems that I had with the first game was just how generic the city itself felt. It didn't feel like a New York that existed within a Marvel universe, because every billboard you swung past, every advertisement you saw was just of something very non-specific, and it kept pulling me out. And I'm hoping for this game that Insomniac will have rectified that.
Lizard sighted in Queens. Closing in now.
This is my favorite part of the entire gameplay, simply because it shows off Midtown High. Now, if you're like me, the moment you saw the football field, you were immediately reminded of that one scene from Ultimate Spider-Man where Peter fights Venom for the first time. And it got me wondering whether or not we'll get to see something similar to that in this game. Also, if you look in the bottom corner, you can see kids fighting in the parking lot, and I just thought that was a neat touch. So there were rumors that Peter would be a teacher in this game, and that he and MJ would be getting a house together. So I'm curious to know if this house that we're seeing is theirs or if it belongs to someone else entirely. And also, if you look closely, you'll notice that something broke out of that latch door area, and it was small enough that when it did, it didn't actually rip the doors off the hinges like Peter does a little bit later. So I'm wondering maybe if that's another symbiote.
The door. The beast could be anywhere. You have no.
And now we've come to the bane of my existence. This symbiote suit is awful. Who thought giving him weird shoulder pad backpack strap things was a good idea? Like, this is what we wanted, and this is what we got. Now, it's cool to see small parts of this symbiote moving, but this suit looks like football pads with the symbiote crawling all over it. If you look closer, it doesn't even look like the main suit, more like they just overlaid the symbiote onto the Mark III or the Velocity suit. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm shocked to see that they actually made a suit that was worse than the Black Cat suit, Felicia Hardy's suit. That was Under Armour and half of an actual costume over it. Yet somehow they outdid themselves.
Idea.
And then we get into the gameplay, and the first thing you see is from the old game, Peter's combat stance. Not only is it the same stance from the first game, the DLC, and the Miles expansion, but for some reason, the stance itself makes the symbiote look and feel extremely weak. Like, when I picture the symbiote in my head, I picture strength and confidence, even arrogance, but not this. This makes me feel like there's no actual point to the suit outside of a cosmetic change.
Spider-Man!
Now that looks cool, but then they follow it up with him web zipping over to some of the other guys, punching them, dodging away, and then finishing them up with another special. Besides the specials, all the things we just saw were old combat animations, and you probably heard it from other people, and you're definitely going to hear it from me. But if you ever played like the Web of Shadows game, switching between the normal Spider-Man suit and the black suit is like a night and day difference. When you're in the normal suit, your movement is lighter, your swinging is more acrobatic, your fighting is even more acrobatic. But when you switch to the symbiote suit, the acrobatics all go out the window. When you swing through the city, the web line is taut, and if you've upgraded it all the way, it sounds like metal bending. When you're flying through the sky, instead of bouncing and flipping all over the place, you launch yourself like a missile. And instead of combat feeling light and acrobatic, it's violent and straight to the point. And all of these differences were just in the basic level of movement and combat. You didn't need to use a special to make you feel like you were getting the most out of the black suit, or hell, even the normal red and blue one. And then right here, I took notice of the HUD, and I can't tell whether or not I like it. Like, when you fight, it sways side to side, and part of me really likes that because it makes it feel like you're viewing things through an Iron Man helmet, but another part of me thinks that after a while it's going to get really annoying, and I'm hoping that there's a way to just turn off at least the swaying motion. Remember this for later.
He's gonna wish he never came to New York.
Seeing the webs get replaced by the black organic and then attaching to that guy and whipping him back and forth between the two houses is really cool. The problem that I have with it is that there doesn't seem to be any strength behind it. The symbiote is supposed to drastically, and I mean drastically, increase Spider-Man's strength, and this doesn't feel like that at all. I will say the kicks are a nice touch though. Another cool special. I like it.
Stand by and wait orders. Satellite scanning all.
God, that looks awful. Now imagine if all of those extra lines and ridges were just smooth or smoother, not overcomplicated the way it looks now.
Active feeds. Triangulating position. Target located at Harlem Fish Market. All teams converge.
Lizards across the river. I'm not gonna make it in time.
Switch to Miles? Switch to Miles? I've got on the symbiote suit, the black suit, and you want me to switch to Miles?
Miles, the hunters tracked Connors to the Harlem Fish Market.
And if you look to the right, you can see a couple of people standing in the building looking back at Miles. Now, I think Insomniac said that they were going to improve upon their interior window areas from the last time, but I am curious as to how far that's going to go. Like, will we be able to go inside more buildings and explore around, or will we just be able to see more internal detail from the outside? If we can only see detail from the outside, how much detail will there be? Will we be able to see interactions happening, or will it just look like a bunch of boat people standing inside of a box? And if I'm crawling up the side of the Avengers Tower, will I be able to see different heroes moving throughout the building? Or will it just be Avengers looking boat people? Same with the Sanctum Sanctorum.
Lizard. I'm on it.
And then we get to the slingshot, and all I can say is, fucking finally! Do you know how long I've been waiting for this? Since Spider-Man 3, that's how long. Game after game after game came out, and every one of them had me wondering why they never added the slingshot back into it. Finally.
Sounds like Craven's checking off his.
We don't have much time. Move.
Guess we'll chat later?
It's not there for long, but if you pay attention, you can see that right after the slingshot, Miles swings for like half a second. And if you paid really close attention, you should have noticed that his swinging animation hasn't changed at all from his initial expansion. But they cover that lack of change by immediately popping out the web wings and having Miles glide through the city. Now the web wings, along with the slingshot, are a great addition to the game, and I'm sure traversing across the city, and especially the bridges, will be made much easier. But you have to remember that this is a Spider-Man game. One of the main reasons people like these games so much is because of the swinging. And yet, from what we've been shown, there's no improvement over the core swinging or the combat. Now, before any of you in the comments starts up with the whole, but Digby, that's how game companies work, they reuse assets all the time. No shit. You know what else they do? They rebuild from the ground up. They take assets that they're going to use and say, how can we improve upon them and make them better than they were? Then they add all the shiny new shit like a slingshot or web wings or new finishers.
See you there.
They got here fast. Can't let him find Connors.
The inside of the seafood market looks nice. The improvement in the lighting and the graphics is really coming through.
Or he's done for.
Spread out. If you find the lizard, don't engage alone. Look at those fish. It's been feeding.
Never saw it coming.
It's cool that we can shoot out webs and make our own lines to cross. I think Insomniac got that idea from the abandoned Spider-Man 4 game footage that came out a while ago. The problem I have with this stealth section is that it's just more of the same. Between the first Spider-Man game, the DLC, the expansion, and now this, it's just more of the same. Hide up in the rafters, wait for enemies to crawl underneath you, and then web them up. I mean, I'm pretty sure that even that one-liner Miles spits out is from the last game as well. Cool new gadget. This looks like they combined Miles' invisibility with whatever iteration of the Venom strike that was. They also changed the color of his electricity, and I'm wondering if that change has story reasoning behind it, or if it's because, like, Electro is going to make an appearance in the game and they need to be able to easily differentiate between the two.
So, how's the hunt going?
Watch out for his new power!
Judging by the 3 tons of dead fish, not well.
Why is Miles even a spider person anymore? He's got so many electricity-based powers and abilities that it would make more sense if he was rebranded as your friendly neighborhood electrician. When he started out, all he had was the Venom strike, and that was supposed to simulate getting bit by a spider and having its venom shut your system down, but just boost it up to a superhuman level. Somehow that devolved into him having electricity powers, and now he's got an electric punch, an electric jump. He uses electricity to boost himself through the air, which brings up the question, now that he has the web wings, will he still be using that? He can set off like a bomb, shoot out energy beams, make energy swords, and apparently can throw an electric Hadouken whenever he wants to now. Miles has become that lame kid who always had to make up new powers for their characters so that they could be better than everyone else.
Where are you, Connors?
Same old moving while in combat animation. I mean, it's fine, I guess. I just hope that Insomniac fixed the issue from the first game where Peter would be in the stance for way too long after combat ended.
Garage might lead to him.
I'm really enjoying this lighting. I think they did a great job with it, but I'm assuming this shot was made specifically to show off how great the lighting can be.
How'd you find me?
Follow the fish.
You guys ever watch those CW superhero shows? Every one of them starts off with a main hero, and then over time there's like 10 people in the hero circle, and all of them need to be just as special as the hero. That's what I'm getting from this. Genki being Miles' guy in the chair is one thing, but also having him in the field as well? Why? I'm not trying to have Genki be the new MJ. And wait a minute, hold on. Why is Genki even alive? This is the same guy who made the Spider app to help people get in touch with Miles, then help Miles take down a bunch of thugs that were trying to take over part of the city. Thugs who were directly tied to Wilson Fisk. Fisk found out that Miles stopped his plans, and then this dumbass Genki went on a popular podcast and told the whole world that his name was Genki Lee and he helped Spider-Man stop the Fisk takeover. This idiot should be dead, or at the very least his family should be. So why is he chilling here like everything in his life is copa? Oh man, I love this shot. I love that the symbiote looks more like Carnage right here than it does Venom.
The building's swarming with hunters. Any sign of Connors?
Yeah. Genki's tracking him.
Hey, Mr. Parker. Mr. Spider-Man, I mean.
Miles, why does Genki know Spider-Man's real identity? Have you been running your mouth? Because I know you had a problem with this in the last game, of always calling Spider-Man Peter when you guys were out in public together. And apparently it seems like Genki has picked up on that habit as well.
That wasn't me.
Me neither.
I don't even have a stomach, so...
Will you shut up?
You shut up, man. It's a comedy.
Can't lose Connors. Harry's dying, and he's the only one who can help.
We won't. You take the drones, I got the jet skis. Cool if I borrow this?
This is really, really exciting.
Keep it tight, man. Watch out for those drones.
Don't worry. They think I'm a friendly.
This whole chase scene, while looking nice, just reminds me of a similar section in the first one where you chase Electro around the outside of Raft. It's also a lot of press triangle to beat the game, and I am not a fan of that style of quote-unquote gameplay.
The East River is not a river, but in fact a saltwater tidal flat. Spider-Man is fighting on right now! Everybody down!
Now, even this one I'm going to consider a nitpick, but did you see those birds? They've still got the same basic flying patterns that they had in the first one, where they get to the end of their lane and they're just like, hey, I gotta loop my ass back around.
Help the tour boat! Right, I've got the metal murder bird!
I warned you about going after Connors. Now this is on you. Poison clouds. That all you got?
Peter and Miles are still swinging around and dodging with their old animations, and it gets more annoying every time I see it.
Almost done here. Civilians are all safe. How you looking?
This gunship won't quit.
I'm right behind you. We'll take it down together.
No time.
If you slow it down or pause it, you can see that Peter's web wings are actually made from the symbiote and are semi-translucent, so it has this thin membrane look to it. Also, you can see that Peter's organic webbing is actually 4 tendrils coming together to form the web. That's dope as fuck. The fact that he goes into old swinging animations afterwards, not so much.
Time to go boom, boys!
Oh, no! Spider-Man has got defenses!
Remember that point earlier when I told you all to log it in your memory for later? It was for this moment. If we go back, you'll see that in both instances, Spider-Man is being attacked by something powerful enough that it warranted the symbiote wrapping itself around Peter to protect him from damage. Yet in one instance, we see Peter's spider sense going off to warn him, and in another, we don't. But why? Unfortunately, it has to do with Miles. In the main game, the DLC, and the Miles expansion, there were many instances where the writers realized that the only way they can make certain characters, Mary Jane, Silver Sable, Miles, seem like they were viable options was when they turned Peter's abilities off. Every time Mary Jane was on the screen, Peter's super intelligence just went out the window.
Is everything a joke to you?
What? MJ, no, I screwed up. It was a tension breaker.
Tension breaker, right. You know, this is exactly why we broke up.
Every time Silver Sable was on the screen, his spider sense, super strength, agility, and reflexes went out the window.
My fault. He was under your protection. You really need 2 of those?
When Miles had his own expansion, Peter just miraculously couldn't fight the Rhino.
This Spider-Man is broken. I would like to exchange for new one.
And then they just kicked him out of the whole game.
Oh, man. Yeah, sorry. I've been meaning to tell you, I'm not gonna be around for the next few weeks.
Now the same thing is being done with Miles again. See, in this scene, Miles needs to be able to save Peter, but how do we have Miles come to the rescue of a guy who's been doing this for over 10 years now? Simple. We turn off Peter's spider sense. That way, he doesn't know he's about to be attacked for some reason, and Miles can swing on in and rescue his damsel. But here's the thing. They could have done this scene the exact same way, left his spider sense going off, and it would have made more logical sense. Because if Peter's spider sense goes off and he ignores it, people can conclude that he did so because the symbiote is throwing him off so much that he doesn't even notice when his own senses are trying to warn him. Also, don't think I didn't notice how this entire scene was just an inverse of the one from the Miles expansion, alright? Y'all ain't slick.
Miles! Grab on, let's go!
I just straight up don't like this scene. Now, I know that they're having Miles be chased by the lizard for cinematic reasons, I get that. But logically, why wouldn't Genki just fly up? Like, just take Miles into all that free real estate that's right above him and away from the lizard. My guy, World War III is happening all around you and you're just gonna keep fishing on the pier? Man, let him die, Miles.
Look out! Everyone, take cover!
What are you guys doing?
Trying to take out that gunship! Can't get close enough!
But I can. I'm one of them, remember?
Bro, that's it! Pete! Alley-oop on 3?
Fine.
1, 2, 3! Alley!
Imagine some idiot in his room yelling at the top of his lungs. That's Genki right now. Relax, my guy, you're just flying a drone. Now we're back to the black suit looking awful.
He got away from us. It's good, Pete. I saved the tracker. Let's go, man, before he gets too far.
No. He's mine.
You sure? He's got big teeth.
Everyone talks about how the symbiote eyes changing at the end are a cool little detail signifying how it's affecting Peter. And you know what? They're right. It's extremely cool. But what I find even more interesting than that is if you look closely, you can see these small ripples going through the eyes the moment before they change. And it's almost as if the symbiote is nourishing off the anger that Peter has inside him.
So do I.
Why in the hell are there random ramps on the fishing pier? At first, I thought it was debris falling in a certain way that caused the ramps to be formed, but no, they were just sitting there. Apparently, when no one's looking, these fishermen like to just get wild.
He's not normally like that, right?
No. He's never like that.
We have to tell the entire audience that this type of behavior from Peter isn't normal, because otherwise, they just won't understand. It's been so long since I started trying to put this together that Insomniac actually released a story trailer, so I'm just going to run through that as quickly as I possibly can.
Now, I got a second chance. I'm going to take advantage.
So right here we're introduced to Harry Osborn, and I gotta say, to me, this looks like more of a young Cletus Cassidy than it does Harry. I mean, look at those eyes. You can see the crazy in them. When you see Peter's face, every time you see Peter's face, I want you to know that the modders did a better job fixing his old face than Insomniac did with his new one.
But I need you with me, Pete. We're gonna heal the world.
Every time they show Peter and Miles doing flips off of buildings, the impact is never as grandiose as I expected it to be. Like, yes, we get it, Insomniac. You hired motion capture actors to bounce off a trampoline and do a flip through the air, and then you took that footage and put it in the game. The problem is that you chose to show it through a static camera, and that static camera just took all the creativity out of the shot. Now, instead of seeing something amazing or spectacular, it's just another flip, and no one's impressed by that anymore. Shoutouts to Big Wheel and Speed Demon in the back. 2 former comic book villains turned into carnival rides.
Guys, this is my best friend Harry.
Apparently all the boys decided to have a night out on the town and needed to be accompanied by this 45-year-old soccer mom as a chaperone. Oh wait, that's just Mary Jane.
Hey, good to meet you.
Good job, huh? Still gonna have...
God damn it with this fucking haircut. I understand that they're trying to get Miles away from the whole he's just a race swap Peter, but this is one of the worst things that they could have done with him. Now realize I don't have a problem with the style in and of itself. The problem that I have with it is that every single time you look at Miles, the same question is always going to be going through your head. How is he fitting all of that hair underneath his mask? And every time you think of that question, it's just going to take you right out of the moment.
Time for tutoring? We'll figure it out.
My man, a little body grooming never hurt anyone.
I didn't know there were...
Oh man, I hate this costume now. They took out the red along his thighs and now there's way too much blue on his lower half that isn't being broken up with another color. But for some reason, Insomniac thinks that this is an improvement upon the old design.
Bears in these woods? Hey MJ, I have another name for you.
I hear that line and a small part of my brain thinks that there's nothing to worry about because of course Insomniac listened to all the people complaining about how awful MJ was in the first game and the DLCs. But then the bigger part of my brain is sending off warning flaxons and yelling that this is modern gaming. And of course they're gonna double down on all the horrible MJ shit from before. Hell, they'll probably throw in horrible Genki shit on top of it all.
Craven. He's here on some kind of hunt.
No, if you need me, I'm just a call away.
Where are you putting all that hair, Miles? Huh? Where? Where is it going?
Know what you took from me.
I really hope that Insomniac doesn't fuck Yuriko Watanabe out of her storyline. I want to see her properly fleshed out with none of that bullshit that Insomniac pulled in the first one where they took her and Black Cat storylines, cut them out of the main game and then resold it back to us as shitty DLC. Give her her time to shine.
All Miles talks about is how to be a better Spider-Man. How to help you.
What the hell's going on with Pete?
He's not himself.
This absolutely reeks of being an MJ stealth mission, but I'm still crossing my fingers and hoping that I am wrong.
Go help him.
This was our dream.
Wow, a brown jacket and jeans. You guys really went out of your way to improve MJ's stale look from the last game, huh? Don't want to strain your character design skills too hard there, Insomniac. You might go too far and accidentally make her look sexy or something. And Lord knows that that's not what any of us want. Of course not. We wouldn't want you taking the risk of your ESG score going down as a result of that, now would we?
You have to force behavior.
Not going to lose him.
We're going to heal the world.
Wow, Venom looks amazing. You see what can happen when a company chooses not to go out of its way and needlessly over-design something? You get damn near perfection. And there it is. Both of the trailers ran through just like your girlfriend. But hey, if you agreed with anything that I said, feel free to let me know. And if you disagreed with anything that I said, please feel free to let me know. But if you're one of those weirdo Insomniac dick-riding fanatics who thinks anyone with a different opinion shouldn't be allowed to breathe the same air as you, you can feel free to leave. No one's gonna stop you and no one's gonna miss you when you're gone.